Hello and welcome to Snapshot Challenge. Today we are doing Snapshot Challenge 2. Last Saturday I offered up the idea of a Snapshot Challenge in which it is opposite day. The idea is that you are going to try to make your high level mobs the lower powered ones and your lower level mobs the higher powered ones. So the idea here is we are looking for barons that just go down like crazy, just go down after one or two hits. Meanwhile, you've got like a possessed worker that just won't go away, just super persistent. Things of that nature. It's opposite day. We're flipping things around. So I asked folks to, some of the rules of that, I asked folks to keep it to 3 modules or less, make the play time about 10 minutes or less, and tag it with SS2 so I could find it, which I'm about to do right now. Let's go ahead and plug in those magic letters and numbers. SS2. Bam! And how many maps do we have? We have 8 total maps. Let's go ahead and have a look at what was built for this challenge here. First off, we got from Sonnenblume, it's called Abyss. We've got BIZZARO from Shadesmaster. We've got Dawn of the DWAYNE by Z-Manzilla. That's me. I decided to make one for this one. We've got Hounds of Baskerville by Voidrunner. We've got KABLOOEY by JRcrash. Really? Oh, awesome. JRcrash entered. Nice. We got Fleg's Realm by Plasma. Yes, I am excited about this one. We've got Save Corey by Banana321. And last but certainly not least, we've got The Skull Nest by ruttozigi. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but I am excited to play all of these maps, so let's just get started. Our first SS2 map was Abyss by Sonnenblume, and this was a really fun one here. Sonnenblume went with the concept of opposite day pretty far on this one here. So not only are we experiencing a map where the lower tier mobs are the higher sort of impact ones, but there are all these other little interesting things that are going on there. For example, if you pick up, I believe it's regenerations, those are actually ammo, and you can pick up BFGs for health, and there's all these like weird little twisted backwards things that are going on, and he really sold the concept with this cool thing that was going on in the background where he took a bunch of skyboxes and kind of jammed them together to create like this idea that there's this nexus of worlds that's going on. It was really, really crazy. Had a lot of fun with the combat in this one. I mean, it was basically very straightforward approach combat-wise. You were in there to just kick some butt, and it did that very, very well. Now, this was the first map that kind of showed me an interesting problem with this challenge, which is that shield guys have to be balanced a little bit differently in consideration for the ideas. The thing is that in addition to their shield, you're also giving them sort of the same juiced up health that you're giving all the lower tier mobs. And so that was, it was interesting to kind of demonstrate that problem. And there was a whole bunch of other stuff that was going on in this map. I don't want to spoil too much. I will say it is absolutely insane, downright Lynchian in places. Like, I mean, it was really a very surreal experience, and it felt like trying to fight my way through a 3D NES glitch. It was really, really cool. Some really great set dressing going on to sell the concept that was going on here. So definitely check that out. That's Abyss by Sonnenblume. You can see it with map ID UHN785SK, or of course with custom tag SS2. The next map to enter the challenge was BIZZARO by Shadesmaster. Now, right off the bat, I was really digging something hilarious that was going on here. As a callback to last week's Snapshot Challenge, Shadesmaster used the same arena, but flipped it upside down. Literally. It was really hilarious, and I dug it. That was just a great way to start things off, and it just went uphill from there. It was really, really hilarious. It was, so, in addition to the standard, part of the challenge, which is to make the big bosses easy and the little bosses hard. It did that very, very well with some really interesting techniques that I don't want to spoil. But one other thing that was really interesting was that technically the final boss of the big boss, the big boss of the entire map was none other than Corey, my Grey Core friend. And so that was pretty interesting. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. And of course, Corey loved it because he's got a huge ego. But so some great combat going on here. A lot of fun. There was some cool little secrets going on as well that were very interesting. One of them in particular actually did involve Corey, you know, and you know, but you gotta see the robot boss, the robot body that was built for Corey. It was really, really hilarious. I was digging the excellent combat that was going on here, you know, and it was, like I said, wonderful way of hiding all the secrets, and you know, excellent use of both custom geo and standard modules to create some really fun, exciting environments, and just everything was just crazy all around. I was really digging what was thrown down in this one, and you definitely should check this one out for an absolutely awesome challenge. Like, he really took the ball and ran with it with this concept, made it very challenging. So that's BIZZARO by Shadesmaster, and that map ID is, of course, A8VBVTKK, or of course, you can use custom tag SS2. Now, this challenge seemed so much fun that I wanted to participate as well. So I made a map here. It's called Dawn of the DWAYNE, and of course that's by me. And the basic gist of this map here is that the final boss is actually a lost soul, but the lost soul had a body built around him. There's a whole story that sort of explains it in the beginning, and the general idea of the map here, and I don't want to go into too much here because, you know, obviously this part is a little uncomfortable for me to try to, like, you know, insert myself in there. But anyway, the gist of this map is that you are fighting DWAYNE, and the DWAYNE is a lost soul that has gained incredible power after doing a favor for a demon lord. Now, you'll have to be very quick here. Justin, when he played it, described it as a cross between a raid boss and Crash Bandicoot boss. And, you know, the general idea is you're trying to protect your ship from incoming fire, which takes the form of Keiko balls and Barons of Hell who try to board you. And then there are slightly more powerful enemies in the form of soldiers that are sort of floating there. Now, once you finally break him down enough, DWAYNE himself will come out, and he is tough because he will insta-kill you and take all of your lives if he hits you, and he has a ton of health. So there's a technique you have to use with a shield wall and some teleporters to avoid him long enough to do the critical damage to him. So, you know, I had a lot of fun with this one. I'm hoping to get a lot of feedback from folks that let me know what they thought of it. In the meantime, just go ahead and check out that map ID on your screen, CL5RWPGC. That's Dawn of the DWAYNE. You can also find it with the custom tag SS2. Next up in the challenge was Hounds of Baskerville by Void Runner, and this was a really, really fun one to play. Now, first off, obviously it has to feature some tremendous custom geo, I mean, as only Void Runner can deliver. So it looked great as well. It's very atmospheric and had a really cool look to it, but I mean, the gameplay was just also insane. And the basic premise here, what he did to fulfill the challenge here, was that he made Pinkies invincible. They're completely invincible. So while you are trying to rack up points in a survival, score-driven arena style setting, there are these hounds that come along, and they can't be beaten at all. They can't be shot. You can't do anything about them except try to avoid them as you're trying to deal as much damage to the other enemies as possible. Now, you've got a pretty good loadout to work with here, but it's not going to be easy. These guys are just coming at you from all angles. It is super, super crazy. Now, what you're trying to basically eventually do is get your hands, after a time limit goes out, you can get a chainsaw which will kill the hounds, and then, you know, when you use the chainsaw to kill the hounds, that ends the game. You also have the option of continuing with permadeath after that time limit runs out to try to rack up more points and get a higher score. So it's a wonderful score-driven experience. It uses the multiplier system from that Taylorhead has made famous, and it also uses some of the flame effects trails that I've created as well. So, you know, it just looks great, plays great, super hectic, a lot of fun. Go ahead and try to get a high score in this one. That's, you know, just a fantastic experience all around. That's Hounds of Baskerville by Void Runner. You can check it out with map ID SJJ29BXJ, or of course, there's always custom tag SS2. Our next entry comes to us from JRcrash, and it's called KABLOOEY. And this map was just fun on so many levels. First of all, I mean, the standard challenge elements were there. You know, you had weak barons and stronger other guys, as it were. But what was really funny about this was two things. First of all, it had some really hilarious story elements in the beginning to really kind of sell what was going on. I'm just laughing just kind of thinking about it right now. And the other thing was there was a sequence in there that was especially interesting, where, you know, one of the sort of mini boss encounters you end up with is you are fighting some engineers, but you are trapped inside a little house that's made out of exploding barrels, and you have a vortex rifle, and you have these engineers that are slowly circling towards your position, and you have to get rid of them before they get close enough to blow it up and completely obliterate you. It's absolutely genius. And the final boss battle also was just equal parts hilarious and challenging. Now, one of the things that's kind of cool here is that you're only armed with the pistol to begin things, but if you kind of think about it and you're like, oh, I want to try to go for score, you also realize that the Barons are actually weak enough to kind of sit there and just sort of melee to try to get him down into glory kill range. It's a way to try to cheese for points as well. So it also has some interesting elements there for the folks that like to go for score as well. Just a lot of fun playing this one. It had a really great sense of humor. It played well, and it was a really great way of showing how you can take lower level mobs and make them a true challenge. So yeah, I definitely recommend checking this one out. This is KABLOOEY by JRcrash. You can find it with map ID BAKB4TN9, or of course, there's always that custom tag SS2. Next, participating in the challenge is Plasma with his entry, Fleg's Realm. And this one was really interesting on several fronts. First of all, probably some of the strongest story elements in the challenge this time around. I was really digging the story that was going on here. And, there was a lot of great use of certain assets. Like, for example, like at one point you're taking the form of a Baron of Hell. And again, all of it makes perfect story sense. The actual story is that there's a lesser demon that's like absorbing the life force of greater demons. Really great way of doing it. It's got a great combination of play styles here. It goes from a survival arena to just sort of like your regular standard sort of Doom experience, and then it transitions into a really interesting boss fight that has phases and is just really challenging all around. It has that hallmark of Plasma's maps where it's not for the faint of heart. There's definitely a strong challenge going on here. It's from the difficulty level, very challenging, very hard, very fun in the process, though. That's the thing. A map can be hard and still be fun, and this is a great example of that. Just a whole lot of great stuff going on here with the set dressing was really, really good. Great use of the modules, considering that we were on a 3-module limit here, I want to say he only used like 2 modules. It was really smart. It was really smart and well done here. And great player direction and all that other stuff. Like it's just a really fun map all around, and it's super challenging. And I really highly recommend you check this one out one way or another. Make sure this is part of your rotation. So that's Fleg's Realm by Plasma, and of course, that map ID is right there on your screen, SURH6VR2, or, it's even easier to just use that custom tag, SS2. Next up is Save Cory by Banana321. Now, but Banana321 has very successfully been able to make me laugh pretty much in every map she makes, and this is no exception. This map was just hilarious. There's a lot of great things going on here from a humor perspective, but I mean, from a gameplay perspective, it's also very solid. In fact, a lot of the presentation makes it almost play like a parody of Eye of Horus, at least at the beginning, which was really funny. So that it had that going for it. It had the same sort of combat that we're seeing throughout the entire challenge, which is the idea that the big guys are going to go down quick and the little guys are going to take a little bit longer. But one of the other things that made this map challenging was, first of all, it's got pits, it's got booby traps in it, so you got to be careful with that. It's also got some really fun situations that get set up, including a bit where like you fall down a hole and then you like end up on a bouncy, like on a trampoline, and it's all fun. It's like, wee, it's really fun. And there's just some little random encounters that happen that make the whole situation absolutely hilarious. So I was digging it for that. I chuckle every single time I think about how it ended. I definitely don't want to spoil the ending. You really have to see it for yourself. It's just I had a lot of laughs. And of course, this is the second time Cory appeared as part of the challenge. So of course, his head is so swollen now I can't even get him through any doors now. And we're talking about those big wide doors that you see all over Doom. But I mean, enough about Cory. He's certainly gotten enough attention in this challenge. But I will say, though, that Save Cory was probably the one that made me laugh the hardest in this entire challenge. It was absolutely hilarious, and you owe it to yourself to check it out. That's map ID 752JEFZQ, Save Cory by Banana321, which you can also check out along with all of the other maps using custom tag SS2. And finally, we played The Skull Nest by ruttozigi. Now, what's interesting about this is actually this user's very first map. And talk about bold, just jumping right into the Snap Map community and saying, hey, I want to be here, I want to do some stuff. And I applaud that. What I will say is, like, for a first map, is actually pretty solid. It uses the formula that we were talking about pretty well there, flipping things around, along with some standard key puzzle stuff. And then it just surprises you out of left field with a really cool area that's built entirely out of props and geo. Now, I will be honest, some of that inexperience does show a little bit. I mean, like, for example, you know, one of the challenges that you have to overcome in that section is dealing with some lost souls. And, you know, newer players will sometimes put lost souls in places that are a little over ganky. So, you know, you really have to be sharp and on your toes for that section to really, and be aware that you are going to get jumped on by some lost souls. That said, I highly respect the design philosophy that's going on with the Skull Nest, as really, like I said, that boldness, that willingness to, like, just see a challenge and go for it. That is what I'm talking about there. That is what the Snap Map community is all about. I think ruttozigi's got it down pat. You should definitely check out ruttozigi's very first map, the Skull Nest. It's map ID QJR3B9YP, and maybe offer ruttozigi some helpful tips and tricks from your own well of experience there. That's what we're all here to do, after all, right? And again, if you don't want to type in that whole map ID, well, here's an easier way to do it. Just check out that custom tag. Say it with me, class. SS2. I want to take one more quick opportunity to thank everybody that participated in SS2. Thank you, Sonnenblume. Thank you, Shadesmaster. You're fine. Thank you, Void Runner. Thank you, JRcrash. Thank you, Plasma. Thank you, Banana321. And thank you, ruttozigi, for participating in this Snapshot Challenge. You want to get in on the next Snapshot Challenge? Well, here it is. I'm going to be revealing it now. So, the inspiration for this week's Snapshot Challenge comes from me playing a couple of runs of Binding of Isaac last night, and realizing that I kept gravitating towards certain weapons, whether or not they were the best weapons for the situation, whether or not they were even good for me. There's a certain group of weapons that I kept gravitating towards, and that was the weapons that explode. And so, this next Snapshot Challenge is all about explosions. It works like this. The only weapon that the player can have access to is the rocket launcher. The only piece of equipment that the player can have access to is the grenades. That's it. Now, you can cheat it a little bit. You can use explosion effects and do other things like that, create custom mechanics, but the focus of the map is that the only offense, the only way that the player has to achieve success, to do anything in the map, their only tool for survival is explosions. So let's see those maps. Let's see you come up with a way to make explosions the central core and only way that players can defend themselves. We're going to keep that once again to 3 modules or less. You're going to make sure that has a par time of about 10 minutes or less. That's to make sure I have time to play them all during the broadcast. And of course, most importantly, you're going to want to tag those with custom tag SS3. Are you up to the challenge? Are you up to making explosions fun? I mean, they're already pretty fun as it is, but can you make them a central core mechanic? Let's see what ideas you come up with for this next Snapshot Challenge. I look forward to playing all your maps next week, and just excite me. Blow me up with excitement. Snapshot Challenge.